McKenna Held is the author of this new cookbook, Mostly French, full of delicious recipes, perfect for the home cook, ranging from beginner to expert. And she's got a unique connection to one of the most iconic French cuisine chefs, Julia Child. McKenna joins me now. Welcome to New Day.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so beautiful to be here. So far away from home, too.
Oh, right, in Provence. Well,
I know.
Let's get started.
Okay, let's
What
get
are we
started.
making?
Well, we are going to make two quick things. We are going to make my mushroom carpaccio, which is lovely and a crowd pleaser. And we're also going to finish off my strawberry chili salmon. So this is a strawberry glazed salmon. We're going to make a little, we would call it a salsa, but the French would call it a sauce vierge, which means an uncooked kind of chunky sauce.
Okay, I like that.
So
sounds good.
I'm gonna have you get the party started by slicing our shallots.
Okay, and you did a pre-slice for me.
I did a pre-slice. I did the vertical slices.
So I'm gonna look amazing doing this.
It looks like you Instamince.
Okay.
And I am going to, on camera, mandolin. So
better you than me, girl.
There you go. So when you're making a mushroom carpaccio, you want the mushrooms really thin, and they just need to be meaty enough that they can handle a mandolin or a knife. You don't have to mandolin.
Okay,
oh
so you could use just a really good sharp knife.
Yes.
And if you need to take a moment,
I mean, I don't want to.
We don't want that to happen on TV.
I always said I would never do this on television, but here I am.
Okay,
so
and you need one of the shallots, right?
I do, yes.
Okay.
I'll just take some out once you get it. It's
okay, I'll do them all then.
I'm not picky. I do run a recipe-free cooking school in addition to cooking from a book. So.
Okay, so I'm chopping these shallots. These are done. Are they going in my bowl?
Yes, most are going in your bowl.
I'm giving you some. That's
You're giving me a little bit. You can just put like a good pinch in my bowl.
Okay. There you go.
Awesome.
Okay. So these are going in there, and then you'd like me to chop some strawberries?
I would like you to chop some strawberries, yes.
Okay, and these are just
strawberries. I would cut them to like a large mince, right? We want them to be kind of like, have some texture.
A heavy dice.
Think like a pico de gallo texture, right? That's something that I think we've got to brain around in the United States.
Okay, and you're still...
I'm still mandolin.
This
is going to take a while. I'm alive.
You're still alive, okay. And does it matter what kind of mushroom?
Again, as long as it's meaty, you can use the white ones, the brown ones, like a shiitake. Might taste meaty, but it wouldn't handle a mandolin well. You can see that these are actually pretty soft too. Oh, I've got a nice little mound going. We're almost there.
And all these strawberries?
Let's just do the other, like those two that you have on your board. That'll be enough. Perfect. Now, of course, there's a recipe for this in my book, so you can follow the recipe, but also if you're feeling like strawberries are really expensive and you don't want to use as many, you don't have to. You can use more tomatoes. These sorts of things are flexible.
Oh, I could sub tomatoes for this.
Well, we're going to put tomatoes in it too, but you could just add extra tomatoes.
Add extra tomatoes. Okay, and you'd like these just quartered?
Yeah, quartered is perfect.
All right.
Awesome.
This is very fresh, which I know is part of French cooking.
That is part of French cooking. French cooking is one of my favorite things because of that, right? Like I just really find it so inspiring that they're so focused on seasonality and they're so focused on what's available and they're really good at navigating that. That's one of my favorite things about living in France.
Okay, so most of these, or...
That's good enough, we're good.
That's good enough, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give this a toss.
Give
so
that
this
a
is
toss.
shallots, strawberries, and tomatoes so far.
Yes. And that is basically the whole foundation of the sauce. And here's my plate of mushroom.
And look
I've survived. I'm going to do one more.
That's the beauty of a mandolin.
I know, right?
Okay.
And I've survived.
I'm afraid to talk to you while you're doing
No, it's okay. Go ahead and talk. I'm good. This is what I do all the time. Don't worry, I got it.
That's not the viral I want to go. You know, one thing that I love and I want to talk about is you bought Julia Child's childhood home.
Summer home.
Summer home.
Yes.
Called La Peach.
La Peach or La Peachoon, yeah.
And look how beautiful that is. Oh. And then you've turned it into an immersive cooking school.
I did.
Tell me about that.
Go ahead and season that with lime.
Okay, how much? Just
give the whole squeeze. Go ahead and go for it. So I opened the Courageous Cooking School in 2017 in La Peach, which is a recipe-free cooking school. That doesn't mean I'm anti-recipes. There's this kind of belief because I run a recipe-free cooking school that I don't like recipes. I love recipes. I just think that like a mathematician, if you can do trigonometry and calculus, it makes you better at math. Same thing if you work with a recipe or work without, both make you better cooks, right?
I like that, okay.
So that is how I'm thinking.
I want to ask you this question. I know it's kind of silly. Being in a house that's so storied with history and Julia Child, do you ever feel her or sense her?
You know, that question gets asked a lot, and ultimately I kind of say no, except for the fact that it is her kitchen. she left in the 90s after Paul, her husband, was no longer really able to go, and after Simone was no longer with us, which was her collaborator. And I think that she really spiritually left it on purpose. Like she was like, this served a purpose, it did its thing. Now I do feel this kind of like thread of historical foodways. There's a beautiful book about it called Provence 1970 that was written by MFK Fisher's nephew. I'll just chop this.
Rough chop. This is parsley.
No, this is cilantro.
Oh, this is cilantro.
Yes, you could use basil, you could use mint, just whatever you kind of got around. I think in my book I say mint or basil or cilantro, just to give it some like color and freshness.
Very good. Okay, and you added red pepper flakes, and we added lime. Okay.
Yes, and I'm going to add a little salt, and I'm going to skip black pepper.
Okay.
I don't put black pepper on everything.
There are a lot of flavors in this, and this is going to go on the salmon.
On this beautiful salmon, which I've already glazed and baked.
That's it?
That's it.
Beautiful. So I just...
Yep, go ahead and spoon that on top. Beautiful. And that is that.
All right, and beautiful. Okay, then let's finish our mushroom carpaccio.
Yes, absolutely. So with our mushroom carpaccio, I like to go in with a sherry vinegar.
Okay.
You just want to get it a little bit damp, not soaking wet, right?
So you didn't have to do anything once you just let them sit and then add that? Okay.
And then I'm going to add my shallots. Go ahead and sprinkle those shallots on top. And we're also going to sprinkle a little bit of salt.
Ooh, I'm getting my fork ready.
Yeah. And then we're going to add some olive oil. I'm going to give that a nice toss.
Okay.
And then I'm going to season it with some sumac and thyme, which I have here. Here we go.
And while you're doing that, I know you have thoughts on how we feel about French food and how they feel about our food.
You know, I think that French food is often viewed as really fussy, and I think the reality is that it is in a professional kitchen sense. And I think American food has gotten that way too. If you think about the difference between American farm to table and home cooking, there's this vast difference. But we have this like imagination in the United States about what French food is like. I'm gonna have you help me pick some time.
Intimidating, and you add the sumac. And
and it's intimidating, and it really isn't. That's not how the French cook at home. Just like we're not making foams and, you know, little caviars and various flavors in the home kitchen, but in the United States farm-to-table kitchen, higher-end cuisine we are. And I think that we both have this imagination about each other, the French and the Americans, in each direction, and like it's only based in this much truth. So I really wanted my cookbook to be like, this is how people actually cook, but with a different flavor profile. Just
all right, we just have a real short time, and I want to try this. So this is the sumac. Ooh.
We didn't get to do the sun-dried tomatoes. That's the beauty. You don't have to.
Okay.
It's okay. It'll
Can
still
I go
be
ahead
delicious.
and try it?
Yes, go ahead. Try it. Dig in.
I love sumac. Okay. Ooh. I like the tartness and the freshness, and I got a hit of that sumac, which I really love.
Yeah.
I could do that as just a side salad.
Exactly. Totally.
Delicious.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Sharing. And just a reminder, while I'm eating, McKenna is holding an author event and recipe demo tonight, Thursday, May 1st at Book Larder. Head to their website for ticket info.
The New Day Northwest Kitchen is brought to you by Safeway.